Good afternoon, Shawn Haggerty over here at Audi VW Fall River. I'm going to do a little video today for you, things you may not think about, passive safety features in your Volkswagen. Let's dive in right now. So again, I'd like to talk about some safety features you may not even notice on your Volkswagen. Now, everybody expects features on their $50,000 Atlas, maybe their $50,000 Arteon, but every safety feature I'm going to talk about is available on this Jetta, the lowest price of entry in our whole vehicle lineup. There are basically two types of safety. We can classify active safety and passive safety. And those two different types of safety systems are really about preventative safety and what happens post-collision or during a collision. So active safety would be things like electrical systems, side assist, or mechanical safety features, maybe ABS modules. So there are different safety systems on almost all cars today. But today I want to focus on some passive safety features that you may not have known about your Volkswagen, but they've been there for years. And all the old school Volkswagen salesmen, they already know probably what I'm going to talk about. So the first item I'm going to talk about is the welding on this car. So this car, along with every other car in the Volkswagen lineup, has what's called laser seam welds. And laser seam welds are different than what you might see on maybe some of the other types of imports. If you've ever seen some of the other imports in this country, you may even see it on some of the American builds, you might see a plastic strip that's put inside these two panels, and it separates that panel. That astragal, that plastic astragal, is basically put there after the car is painted. And we don't do that at Volkswagen because we have nothing to hide. That astragal is usually put in because the car is spot welded. Let's face it, these cars get spot welded and laser welded today. Robotics, they pick up these big panels on the assembly line. It's all done by robotics. They put the panels together, and these big laser machines or robotic welders come along, and they either tack weld it or seam weld it the way Volkswagen does. And if you come over here and take a look at this weld, it is near perfect. You can't see any imperfections. And a laser seam weld goes the entire length of that weld. So why is it better? That's the feature. What's the benefit? The benefit is it's stronger. In the event of an accident, we want to keep that car together. We want to keep that safety cage together. Much like a zipper on your coat, it's harder to pull apart than buttons on a shirt. So what happens in the event of a crash is these panels are going to hold together. And if you keep that car held together, the safety cage of that vehicle is going to be held together. The object of a car when you get in a crash is so that you can walk away safely from it. All the airbags will deploy, etc. The other thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about the way the B pillar is constructed in every Volkswagen. So we have our A pillar, our B pillar, and our C pillar. Some cars may even have what's called a D pillar, but we have A, B, and C in this car. And in all Volkswagens, this is made triple layer hot formed steel. In other words, it's not cold press, it's hot formed. And when these cars come off of that assembly line after they've been welded, this is typically glowing because this is the part of the car that cannot break. The side impact is the most deadliest crash because there are no crumple zones. There are no crumple zones in the rear to protect you. This is made not to bend, not to break. So if somebody comes along, hits you on the side, no matter what speed they're going, there are degrees of which this will not break. And this is made of 3 layers of hot formed steel. So that's another passive safety feature. Let's talk about the way the doors are constructed. These doors typically have a higher grade steel, a thicker grade steel. In a lot of the cars that you see today, if you walk up, especially on the back door, they're usually pretty good about putting in I-beams or beams that run down diagonal like Volkswagen does. But when you shut a back door on many of these smaller cars, you won't hear this sound. And that's the sound that you're going to hear in a Volkswagen. As we move on up, we can also take a look at the hinges that hold this car to the frame. And if you notice, they're made of solid billets of steel. Those are forged steel, so they're cut from one piece of steel. And if you can keep a door on the vehicle, you have that much chance of walking away. We have solid steel billets, and that's another safety feature. So those are 3 basic safety features, passive safety features that you'll see on every Volkswagen. I want to dive into one more safety feature, and this can go both ways. This can go, sometimes I've heard it spoken of as an active safety feature, meaning something that you need to help prevent an accident, but I've also heard it spoken of in a passive way, meaning post-collision, and I'll show you that feature right now. Let's go under the hood. So all these modern cars have what they call anti-lock brakes, and they have these ABS systems. Volkswagen is no exception. Volkswagen has an ABS system on every single car. You're going to see what's located way down by the firewall. That's the heart and the soul. That's the brain of the ABS system. If you lose your engine and your engine drops away like they're all supposed to do, of course your engine is gone, but you still need to brake. You may be going 50 miles an hour, you hit a car, you're careening down the road, you still need to hit that brake. And the reason Volkswagen puts it back there is to protect it as much as possible during a forward collision. So that's another safety feature, and that can be classified in both categories. So those are the safety features that nobody seems to talk about anymore, but I did want to touch upon them, and they're in every single Volkswagen, from the Jetta all the way up to your $50,000 Atlas, your Arteon. In every Volkswagen, you'll see those passive safety features. So again, Shawn Haggerty, Audi VW Fall River, with briefly touching upon passive safety systems, ones that you may not have known existed in your Volkswagen, and they've been there a long time. Give me a call, 508-678-5555. Like this video, check us out on Facebook, and as usual, I have the best camera person in the business, Kayla. She's working hard behind the lens. Give her a shout out also. Shawn Haggerty, Audi VW Fall River. Thank you.